The BumbleKast is for entertainment purposes only. The host's comments and opinions, and those of their guests, are wholly their own and do not represent that of any other entity. Content is provided as is, with no guarantees of accuracy or timeliness. Unauthorized redistribution or editing of the BumbleKast in whole or in part is strictly prohibited.
Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
What's up? We're here, we're back, and we have so many questions. I think it's for the best if we get into them.
Yes, these questions that come from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and rounding out the last of our YouTube member questions.
All right, let's start off with this one from Jara. Drogoon thought experiment when exploring a unique setting. An interesting way to look at a world is through the eyes of regular people who are not some great hero or person of significance. So on that note, I ask you to pick a realm and tell us what an average day in the life of someone of that realm would be like there. If deciding which world to choose is difficult, then have Kyle roll a dice for it, perhaps.
Honestly, that is my mindset going in with any of this. In any of the world building on my end, it's like, what is the day-to-day life of the people here? What I want it to feel lived in. And what's killing me is Wynn's story kind of touches on all that, but it's her story and it goes into the grander concepts of the history and the cosmos and whatnot. It grows as the story goes on. So you don't have a lot of time to dwell in it. And it's like, okay, so where's the sister series that got to start on alongside it to delve into that as well? Where's the D&D campaign? Where's just like the slice of life books to just throw out there? Because, oh my God, I just want to revel in this universe, Kyle. So yeah, there's no way I can pick. You pick one.
I don't have the names of them all off the top of my head.
Well, just roll a die.
Okay, hold on a second. We grab one of our BumbleKast die.
Hey!
6-sided dice. Hold on a moment.
Well, ordered alphabetically. So 1 is A, 2 is D, and go from there.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
All right, one of our 6-sided die here. Let me warm it up a bit. Alrighty, here we go. 5.
Okay. Ajay, Drafheim, Shantyheim, Humaheim. So next element, OP. So that would be Nurmenheim, I think.
Oh, irony.
Skipping over Drogenheim.
Nurmeheim.
And that's the more difficult one because that's the one I'm still kind of trying to parse out. Because what I want with Nurmenheim is it's based on the ocean, the deep ocean. And thus I want it to be kind of mysterious and alien compared to everything else. Like the Nurmen themselves are aquatic creatures. And so traveling outside of their realm is difficult for the most part. And they've had an especially bad history with Galaxond as a whole. So they don't really like to interact with everyone else. Again, giant blanket statement. You have very gregarious ones and adventurous ones and what have you. And there's also a very stark divide with what little structure and access the air breathers have with their like the few islands that dot the realm or the very few structures of remaining Drogoon architecture, whether it's above sea or below sea, and that funnels the interaction they have with the Nurmen. And just the very nature of the Nurmen is that that's the catch-all phrase. Like everyone from Ajaham is an Ajay, everyone from Drofheim's a Drof. But the Nurmen, that's like a catch-all phrase of saying, oh, you're this ethnicity when you're ignoring the entire continent around it. There are mammalian ones, there are more pescatarian ones, and within that so many different subgroups and subcultures and tribes that it's really kind of diminutive of him to just say, oh, you're a Nurmen. It's like, oh, you're saying you're a person. That means you're the exact same as every other person in the world. It's really gnarled and messy in a socio-political way, and I could go on forever with just that realm. There's not enough hours in the day, Kyle.
No, unfortunately. And also not enough hours on this show to go super in-depth.
Suffice to say, it would be fascinating to have just a comparison between one of the Nerman that's working in like the service sector to the vacationing and entertainment side of the Galaxad economy versus one of the folks who just spends their lives out at the ocean in the traditional lifestyle, and how they contrast to each other. God, you could do that. Yeah, okay, we got to stop there, or this is just going to be the Drogoon cast.
Well, that might be happening sooner than you think. Here's one from Johnny Be Good. Does Shadow the Hedgehog qualify for senior citizen discounts at stores and restaurants? Most places don't ask if you were in stasis for most of it, so...
I think the question is, does he carry an ID?
Does he care? That's really what it comes down to. It's like, do I care? I'll pay full price. I don't give it a shit. Why did I say it that way? I don't know.
I mean, if we're going the route of does he care to pay at all?
Yeah. We've definitely talked about this before on this show, to be fair, but yeah, it's still funny. Lord Head Cheese has a question. Recently in IDW, we briefly saw Westopolis when Surge and Kit were rescuing a trolley full of Mobians speeding down a hill. Since the city was previously seen as a primarily human city, does this mean that there was a major demographic shift since the war, or is it just 50-50 split and we only saw one group at a time?
We just very conveniently have only seen the non-human residents. Funny that.
Thanks, Ian. I hate it.
Look, all the humans are still there. They're just, inside or off panel or behind you.
There were humans right behind the buildings the whole time. You didn't see them? Shame. L the letter has a question. For both of you, what was your favorite Shadow Takeover answer? Can be a Twitter or TikTok answer. I have some bad news. I have not watched it.
Oh, it's too bad.
I have not watched any of them. I'm sure it is. I just haven't gotten the chance to.
I think my one is when Roger starts going through his various voices.
Well, I mean, that's always fun.
He lapses into Frontier's deeper Sonic, and Shadow's like, wait, what? And then he just lapses straight up into Ezio.
Yep.
Was that Ezio? Howdy, it's called the range, my friend.
He does have great range.
Oh, he does.
Absolutely.
Also, taking advantage of the fact that he's also Commander Tower and just forcing Shadow into an awkward phone conversation with him. That was funny. Spoilers, I guess, but
I like the idea of Sonic being a voice actor in in his off time. In between adventures, he's doing just voice acting. It's funny. I don't know why. Mankoi has a question. Starline's Isekai adventures continue. This time, Dutch Vanderland approaches the gang with a strange new recruit. Yes, he admits it's strange that a talking duck thing is riding with him now, but if you'd all just show a little faith and have some god-danged loyalty, then you'd know it's all part of the plan. How's this go? Did they ever find Gavin?
I have not played any Red Dead Redemption, so I have no idea what this is referencing. Sorry.
Well, how would Starline fare in a Wild West gang, basically?
I want him to embrace this wholesale, and he thinks he's being authentic, but he's not. I'm talking Marty McFly at the start of Back to the Future 3.
Yeah.
Wearing his, Nikkei tribal boots.
Yes. And a poncho. Very colorful poncho.
Howdy, partners. Shall we get along these little doggies?
This really sounds like a hello, fellow kids moment for him.
Absolutely.
Of course he ends up tied to a train track at some point, right?
That, or he can't find the user manual for his horse and goes off a cliff. Don't worry, the horse is fine.
Of course. It's him that's off a cliff.
When I say whoa, I mean whoa!
Oh, boy. Yeah, pretty much. How do y'all do, fellow cowpokes?
What does this 10-gallon hat convert to in metric?
I don't know. Mixiger17 has a question. Ignoring the multitude of reasons why he'd never be like this or get the chance, Black Doom goes full doting, loving grandpa mode on a shadow fan kid. The pairing doesn't matter unless you want a specific one for the funnies. How's that go?
No, that tracks. Overbearing, hyper attentive, demanding father becomes an absolute kitten when it comes to the grandkids.
Yeah. Sounds 100% on brand, yeah.
Your father said you're not supposed to have McDonald's after 6, but here it is, 8 o'clock, and you get all the Happy Meals.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's my precious little grandchild. Yes, it's you. Would you like a shiny new Australia?
You'll have to fight Sage for it, but...
Pappy Doom Doom, get you whatever you want.
Come check out Radical Highway with me, kiddo. Pappy Doom Doom. Thank you, Ian. Thank you. Here's a question from Omega King 99. So Sage, in her efforts to understand media, comes across the Godzilla films. Naturally, she understands peak fiction and becomes a fan. To satisfy her newfound love of monster fighting, she decides to make a battle royale simulation featuring some of the Sonic World kaiju. Let's go with Perfect Chaos, Dark Gaia, the Black Dragon, Wyvern, and Big Brother Metal Overlord. How does the battle go, and how much box office does it make when Eggman decides to make it a theatrical experience?
Oh, he retires from the world conquering game. I mean, he's made bank.
I was going to say, this sounds like something that would be like at a Universal Studios attraction.
Yo, Perfect Chaos the ride.
That would be freaking sick.
I want it.
Yeah?
You kidding me? You have to wear that little thin poncho that doesn't actually protect you from any water.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Would you go with like a big animatronic or like one of those hyper realistic LED rooms? So it looks like you're in the middle of flooded Station Square.
I mean, you're
just like in a small pool that's rocking back and forth.
I mean, you could just do what they do now and just have it be like a 3D glasses experience.
I hate
which
those.
I kind of hate, but also there's something about that you could do. So you could have some fun with.
I mean, the trolley goes along the perfect Dark Gaia moment, and you're like on the rails, passing over the shattered world.
Yeah,
seeing the core blow. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
That would need the 3D experience. I'm not gonna lie. Okay.
Yeah. There would need to be at least some 3D effects or something like that to really make it feel more immersive. But I feel like you could do like a mix of both practical and special.
And then for the real surprise, Metal Overlord is an actual animatronic construct and you ride into him.
Yes.
So you're like, wait, I took my 3D glasses off, but he's still there. Oh my God, those claws came so close to me. It's such a real experience.
Wow. Amazing.
I legit want this.
Yeah, me too. Come on. Sounds cool as hell. I want it. Please, somebody, somewhere, take this pitch. Spend a lot of money building it. Question from Onyxodon. Starline finds himself in the events of Star Wars Rogue One, which changed the galaxy forever. Would he find a kindred spirit in director Krennic, a fellow underappreciated genius, or with his rivals? What would he think of those motley rebels who dared oppose the Empire? And how would his end come about? During, before, or after the Battle of Scarif? I just want to see a series of Starline X Star Wars questions now, and I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this one, because I sure am.
I imagine it's him like one step behind every attempt to get the Empire's attention, wanting to be recruited, wanting to turn in the rebels. Everything he's doing is just trying to get in good. And then he hears that they're going to test out the firing capabilities of this incomplete thing with that Kyber crystal he just happened to get into their hands. And he really hopes that with all of his hard work, they will understand. And then the laser comes down.
Oh, no. Oh, no. He doesn't even make it.
Look, it's working as intended. I'm down here.
Oh, no. He doesn't even make it to episode 4. No.
That's the isekai hell. He can just show up per episode.
Or that, yeah. He just suddenly shows up. There you go. Someone else will have to ask about that one, though, I think. Let's not get too into the weeds on this one.
Staring up at that blinding beam. Well, at least it works as intended.
VoIP.
VoIP. And the isekai adventures continue. I mean, you gotta milk Star Wars Starline. Peacock Queen has a question. We've heard Rouge and Ariam call Knuckles handsome, but I wonder if Knuckles is the last echidna that exists, how do they know he's handsome? I mean, they have no one to compare him to, and it's assumed that they have never seen another echidna besides him. Well, Ariam maybe, since she seems to be someone who has lived hundreds of years.
All right, look, have you looked at Knuckles? This ain't a matter of species. It's just a matter of fact.
I mean, yeah. Especially when he opens his mouth as movie Knuckles. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Especially movie Knuckles. Yeah. Now, apparently, Ian is a Knuckles simp confirmed.
Oh, I've always been.
Aren't we all? We should.
93, man.
We should all be simps for Knuckles, to be honest. Come on. As you should be, dang it. All right. Professor Scruffy Matt has a question. We've seen a lot of what Shadow's relationship with Maria was like, and even his relationship with Little Abe. But what about Shadow and Gerald? What was their relationship like when they were on the ark together, before everything went to hell?
We don't know for sure, but I feel like we can get an inkling of it from their interactions in White Space. I imagine Gerald would be doting and kindly and thoughtful, and maybe a little too thoughtful, kind of getting lost in the weeds, but well-meaning. And Shadow being a little standoffish because he was awkward, being the one alien hybrid hedgehog thing up on that station. But I would imagine that you would get a sense of trust between them. Not outright stated, but just the ease with which they could converse at any time. There would be an understood trust and acceptance between them, I think.
Interesting. All right, Rabbit Haver has a question. Silver has been locked in a Home Depot for 12 hours. What does he do there to pass the time?
You're going to come back to a second Home Depot.
Why is he going to clone it?
He's got all that stuff there. Why not build with it?
I guess. Okay.
Doesn't matter how heavy the materials are. He's got psychic powers. Doesn't matter how hard it is to get to any of those high places. He can fly with TK powers.
Did he help the workers unionize?
Does he know what a union is?
I don't know. Maybe someone will tell him and he'll learn.
Yeah, I can see him, in my personal funny take opinion, I can see him being a union man.
Yeah.
And now we have a question for you, Kyle.
All right. Actually wasn't expecting this.
Turnabout is fair play, is it not?
Yeah, I kind of didn't realize this one was here. All right.
This one comes from Sam Cybercat. Hey, Kyle. I know each episode description includes links to the KNGI network and your other works, but here's an open invitation to talk a bit about your other shows and why BumbleKast listeners should also check them out. I think that's a fantastic question, Sam Cybercat. Kyle, please go on at length.
You guys like video games? You like video game music? Then check out my other show, Nitro Game Injection. It's all about video game music, especially the stuff that's created by fans, like remixes, covers, arrangements, things like that. Trying to think of, you guys know who Little V is, right? I'm trying to think of an example of a name that's really out there, I think, lately these days. And Little V seems to have really made a name for himself, just in doing not only video game arrangements, but also, metal covers of meme songs and popular music, too. So popular, nerdy adjacent music. So
absolutely fearless in his video.
Yes.
Music videos.
Yes. Absolutely hilarious. It's fantastic. So think of the music stuff along that line. That's kind of what I feature on there. Sometimes I'll do some original soundtrack stuff, especially from indie titles and from smaller artists and stuff like that. So yeah, I would say if you like video game music and you want to check that out. I do try to feature quite a bit of Sonic stuff. Most episodes I try to feature at least one Sonic song sometimes. Sometimes it's kind of a running gag when I don't. It's oh, all right. No Sonic on this one, huh? So, yeah, that's kind of what we got going on over there for NGI. Of course, there's also plenty of other shows to check out. BumbleKast supporter DJ Level also hosts his own show over there, which is does DJ mixes of video game music, and also features quite a few Sonic tracks once in a while in there. So if you're interested in some live DJ mixing going on, a bit different from my show, then be sure to definitely go check out his. It's called The Bonus Stages. And then Viper's VGM Chur, hosted by my good friend Viper, who is also one of the main guys behind Radio Sega, which is not affiliated with Sega, by the way. It's just a fan-run Sega-themed radio station, but that I work with a lot, actually. A good partnership with them. But yeah, Viper is a host, and there's VGM Chur. It says his adventure through the world of video game music beyond Sega. That's sort of what the theme of the show is for him. So, because he does a lot of focus on Sega stuff, being, the Radio Sega guy. So it's his exploration of video game music beyond Sega. And then we also have other shows like Molehill Mountain, which is just Andrew Eisen kind of talking about whatever topics interest him, and nerdy topics, gaming, even sometimes getting a little bit into the politics of gaming and things like that. And he also has a show with his sister called Movie Mandates, where they mandate each other to watch a movie every 2 weeks. And then they come back and they talk about it and give their thoughts and opinions. And it's usually something entertaining, either a silly movie, a bad movie. Sometimes it's a good movie. But yeah, it's all just two very charismatic siblings having a good time talking about movies over there on that podcast. So, and I think that's all of them, other than the BumbleKast, if I'm not mistaken.
If you're ever hurting for entertainment, go to kngi.org.
Oh,
you will be spoiled for choice.
I absolutely, completely forgot our morning show, Game Jams. Mondays, every other Monday. Charles Kilbourne, he hosts an eclectic taste of video game music, and it's a very cool show. It's only 1 hour usually. It's very short in and out, but I do recommend checking it out. It is if you're interested in maybe some stuff you haven't thought of in a while, or maybe some more recent games that you might be playing through along with him, or anything else that's going on. He puts on a good show. So yeah, Game Jams, absolutely check that one out too. All right, Scurvy Pirate Hog has a question. If you had the choice, would you write a comic for Scrooge McDuck or Darkwing Duck, and why?
Darkwing.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many Scrooge comics. Like, that's a bit of an intimidating history to try and jump onto. Well, yeah, true.
But I think Darkwing's a little more my speed with the action comedy superheroics angle. Scrooge is more of a open-ended adventure series, and I have a harder time pinpointing where to go, what to do with that, because you're spoiled for choice. So many options to go with Scrooge. But at the same time, that way you can kind of do anything, and it's really on brand. So, but I don't know. I liked Darkwing better growing up. I was really hyped for the reboot that didn't happen. And I don't know. I would be happy with either, let's be honest. But Darkwing would be my pick between the two.
All right, and one last question before I take a break. It's from Soccer Cot. Sonic, Shadow, and Silver go to the mall and meet Amy and Rouge working to survey ladies, who ask them the following questions. Do you eat beans? Would you like to see a new movie starring George Wendt? Do you eat beans with George Wendt? Would you like to see George Wendt eating beans in a movie? Do you eat beans at George Wendt movies? Would you see George Wendt in a bean-eating movie? How many beans do you eat at George Wendt bean-eating movies? How do Sonic, Shadow, and Silver respond?
It makes me sad that some people aren't going to get this reference.
Nope. Completely over their heads. There's a lot of people going to be wondering, who the heck is George Wendt?
Soccer Cot, I tip my hat to you. This is hilarious.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Sonic will, because it's Amy and Rouge, kind of smile and nod along and answer them succinctly and then move on. Shadow, because it's Amy and Rouge, will answer decisively and move on. Silver, because he's Silver and it's Amy and Rouge, will think long and hard about each of these questions and give them his most honest answer.
I would hope so. As Silver should. He should always be honest. Anyway, I think this is a good point to take a break from this madness and then come back with more on the BumbleKast.
Plenty of time to have some beans and watch some George Wendt.
Beans.
Wendt.
We're back, and we got a question from Sonic Beta 4. In the 1930 Mickey Mouse short, The Gorilla Mystery, Minnie Mouse is kidnapped and held hostage in her attic by an escaped man-killing gorilla, and Mickey is forced to go rescue her. My question is, any character, specifically Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Rouge, why and how would they do it? You also have to include the part where they're forced to use a pistol when cornered by the gorilla, only to then find out it only shoots out a cuckoo bird.
Points for originality. It's very specific, but,
Yeah, well.
I dig it. Okay, so hypothetical scenario here. I mean, they're all going to potentially rescue Minnie for the sake of rescuing someone in distress. Except for Rouge, maybe Minnie owes her money. I don't know. A joke.
Well, I mean, you think if Minnie owed Rouge money, you think that it would be in Rouge's best interest to save Minnie so she can pay her.
Exactly. And they have to use a gun, which is hilarious because all of them could take out that gorilla.
Yeah, they don't have to use a gun. No, none of them.
I mean, maybe Sonic is toying with the gorilla and sees the novelty pistol there, realizes it's a novelty pistol, and whips out to go, ooh, and he's like, hey, I gotcha, and then, spin dash. Maybe Tails thought he actually had his gorilla pacifying ray on hand, drops it in the scuffle, grabs the cuckoo gun by mistake. Oops, pulled the trigger on the wrong thing. That's dangerous. Could Knuckles fire a gun with those mittens?
I don't know. Probably in much the same way that Strong Bad types with boxing gloves on his hands.
There, Knuckles. How do you fire the cuckoo pistol with mittens on your hands?
It's true.
Amy, I want her to just rear back with the hammer and then the front face of it just pops open and the cuckoo comes out. And Rouge, that's a standard issue decoy gun cuckoo pistol. Thank you very much. Yes. And while the gorilla is confused by the cuckoo itself launches off as a small missile.
Perfect. Nice. Here's a question from Speedweed. Honestly, I've grown to adore doppelganger characters. Between Sonic, Mega Man, and Metroid, they all feel like they have something unique to say about who they doppel. So I ask you, Ian, what makes a good doppelganger to you? Themes, character development, contrast?
Let's see. The Doppel Ian. Ian spelled with 2 I's.
Uh-oh.
I saw that once. That confused the heck out of me. It's like, wait, you can do that?
Is that the only difference?
No. This Ian is actually attractive.
Oh.
And is charismatic, is not awkward in social situations. And is actually cunning. I am not cunning in the slightest. And this fellow would be able to use the platform of the BumbleKast and carefully worded answers to bend everyone to his will and really shape the online narrative. Whereas I am more akin to, a small dog you throw into the deep end of the pool and is just splashing, desperately hoping to reach the edge.
I think you're misunderstanding the question.
But the evil double counterpart.
Who makes a good doppelganger to you? As in, what makes a doppelganger good in your opinion?
Oh, well, they said you in all
that's
capitals.
What I was thinking. That's what I think he meant. But this is funnier, yeah.
Well, all right, to deconstruct, the best things about a good doppelganger character is it highlights the traits of the base persona and puts a spin on them.
Yes.
What is it that is intrinsically good about that character and can be taken in a negative way? What is one of their failings that the doppelganger can either excel at or push to an extreme? What are key elements to them that can be taken to a negative aspect, like Samus specifically?
Yeah.
Who is a stoic, hard to read sometimes, absolute powerhouse. And then you have Dark Samus, who is dispassionate, terrifying, and just brutally lethal. It's all the cool stuff about Samus just made bad.
Yeah. Something of a force of nature.
Yeah.
In which case, they're both kind of forces of nature, but at least Samus has some restraint. Mm-hmm. Dark Samus does not.
Samus's ultimate motivation is ultimately protection of the greater cosmos, whereas Dark Samus's is consumption.
Yes.
Destruction of them. So, there you are, the inversion of the core character trait.
Yep. Well, at least I know you haven't been replaced by a doppelganger by accidentally misunderstanding a question, but still answering it in a very humorous way.
Doppel-Ian wouldn't have walked straight into that wall. So there you go.
Maybe. Or maybe that's what a doppelganger would say.
Or perhaps that's what Doppelkaya would try to expose.
Oh, no! Spoiler 1001 has a question. I've been captivated by the idea that Chow have cat behaviors and characteristics, so I must ask, upon seeing it for the first time, who in the main cast would be caught off guard by seeing Chow's eyes glowing in the dark?
Everyone.
Freaky.
I think everyone, canonically, non-canonically, human, real world, animal person, whatever, you walk into a Chow garden at night and you turn on your flashlight and you just see that reflective eye and you're going to go, ooh. Especially when you're not ready for it and it's crawling towards you with those big lens eyes. Brrr, what the hell? Oh, God. Okay.
Oh, it's just you.
It's just you, Tchaikovsky. Good to see you, little buddy.
Woo. Scary. Spookeasy has a question. Dr. Eggman's reaction to Starline nearly blowing Sonic up showed us that he's very particular about how he wants to destroy his arch nemesis. Let's say that somehow another crazed scientist, maybe working for good, maybe acting alone, manages to capture Sonic with the intent to take him apart piece by piece to see what makes him tick. If you were in charge of the story, what would be Eggman's reaction to this?
I figure you could take it a few ways. I think the most entertaining would be for him to stage an invasion just like in SA2, because nobody's going to dissect the rodent. It's going to be him. And if he's going to do it, it's going to be with a ballistic missile.
Well, there you go. Makes sense to me. Question from Straubs. Ian and Kyle, you wake up one morning and the song Big Girls Don't Cry is playing on the radio as you get ready. When you check your text, it's now on a Motorola Razr. And on your walk, you see the old phone booth that used to exist before they dismantled it. It's 2007 again for one day. For just one day. How do you make the most of it?
Take whatever money I have on hand and make some informed stock decisions right then and there. Let it ride.
Well, I mean, I can't argue with that. I was going to say, just hope it's not a work day and then I have to go to the job I was doing in 2007 again. Yeah, no. Otherwise, I'm trying to think of 2007. I don't feel like I had much going on then. That's all right. Yeah, I think it's better now, honestly, but yeah. I'm not nostalgic for 2007, really. I don't know about you, Ian.
I'm trying to nail down where I was in 2007.
2007 was like, I was 3 years out of high school. I didn't have much going on. Yeah, I was already an adult by then, so my nostalgia, I feel like my personal nostalgia for that era is fairly limited. I don't even remember what was on TV at the time or anything.
I mean, I was out of college, but I wasn't married yet, and my career was taken off. So really, biggest thing I could have done was be better with my long-term finances.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense.
I was doing all right in 2007, all things considered.
Yeah, true. Okay, System 509 has a question. Sonic's world gets engulfed in a reality-altering energy field known as the Justice Field that makes it so any crime a person commits is instantly done to them instead. For example, if you steal something, then something of yours goes missing. Or if you attack a person, you suffer any damage you would have caused. How do the villains of Sonic's world handle life inside the Justice Field?
Oh, they hate it.
They really have to sit there and think about what consequence their actions will have, huh? For the first time in their life.
I would imagine Surge would be especially angry because she's absolutely justified in what she is doing. What are you talking about? Who are you to judge me, you stupid Field?
Yeah.
And you know what? She heals real quick. She'll take it on the chin. She'll do what she wants to do, and you can't stop her.
Oh boy, Mimic would be
I mean, he was already planning to kind of go into hiding anyway, so he's like, yep, early retirement, bye.
Yeah, I guess so.
Eggman's sitting there going, why is everything bad happening to me? I'm trying to bring world peace.
World peace.
Say, you go to daddy and let him out of this motobug.
Rouge Rouge would have to come up with some really weird, funky ways of stealing that make it seem like she's not stealing.
Inside the Museum of Natural History, she's opening the case. I'm borrowing this great cosmic field. I'll bring it back one day.
That is pretty funny. All right, the Oddly Roger has a question. Hey, Ian, do you have any advice for other freelancers when it comes to securing good faith contracts and not being exploited?
Unless this is someone you know very, very well, do not go into good faith contracts.
Assume the worst.
Yeah. And I know it can be scary and intimidating and a hassle to get it, any kind of basic contract down, but get that contract down. I mean, technically speaking, from my understanding, if you have an email correspondence, that is written consent to work and restitution, but that's not as ironclad as a contract. And that still puts you in the position where you have to track down the email chain and put it all together, blah, 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 blah. No, get it in writing that you're going to do this specific work for this specific rate with payments by this date, usually within a 30-day period, by these means. And if you're doing it through something like PayPal, take into account that they have a fee for processing and work that into your totals. Like, speaking personally, I hate money matters. Never been comfortable with it. The first time I had to write an invoice for Archie Sonic was one of the most stressful things in my life. And they had it already printed. They had their own form. I just had to fill it out and mail it in. I hate it. I hate asking for money.
Yeah.
But you also got to eat.
Yeah. I'm with you. I don't like asking for it either, but yeah.
And you have to take your mindset out of, yes, you're doing this. This is fun for you. Maybe you're enjoying the work. You may even really like the project, but it's still business at the end of the day. You are providing a service, and they, in turn, must provide you with payment for your services. So,
yes,
unless this is like your bestest friend that you grew up with your entire life, and you live in the same apartment, even then, it's always better to have a contract down.
100%. All right, next question is from the Hobgoblin. Given what happened with Starline, you've established that characters can die from relatively minor events in modern Sonic comics. But given the tone of the classic games, can you say that in classic Sonic comics that anyone getting smashed under a boulder or hit with a bomb would only result in Tom and Jerry / Looney Tunes style effects like in the games? For example, when Fang's gang catapulted a boulder towards Sonic during the Fang series, if Sonic had been hit by that boulder, would it have been the same effect as it had on Starline, or would Sonic have just been dazed for a bit like Wile E. Coyote when he gets smashed by a boulder? It seems to me that they expected Sonic would survive even if they successfully hit him with the boulder, since they intended to question him, which implies getting hit with a boulder would not be lethal to classic Sonic, even though it was lethal to Starline.
I understand where you're coming from, but I think you're overthinking things.
A little bit.
Yes, in general, classic Sonic seems to take a more lighthearted approach to things, but at the same time, don't try to trap yourself with trying to apply like toon logic to this and hard fantasy to that. It's kind of contextual for what the story is doing.
It's like, look at Sonic Lost World and Eggman falling off the edge of the Lost Hex and obviously completely surviving just fine.
I understand the desire for a universal consistency within any brand.
Yeah.
And I know I would be asking the same question 20 years ago. But there also needs to come a time where you just relax and enjoy the entertainment for what it is. Not everything has to be scrutinized and weighed against itself in all matters. We had Fang and his goons launch a Looney Tunes style attack on Sonic, and he threw it right back with his hammock. That's funny. And that's all it really needs to be.
Yeah.
That's not hand waving a concern, and that's not trying to diminish your question or you in any way. I'm just saying not everything has to be hard coded exactly the same in every situation across all media, in all interpretations, in all forms, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Sonic's not really the brand for that type of consistency anyway, really. So here's one from Thievius. So Shadow knows who Sabrina Carpenter is. What other Sonic characters know about other musical artists? Does Tails know about 21 Pilots? Does Omega know about Rage Against the Machine? Does Sonic know about Rush?
I guess that just leaves to be determined by a future Twitter takeover.
Who knows Weird Al?
I imagine just Weird Al lives in their universe.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Okay. Weird Al is in Sonic, confirmed.
I mean, why not?
Sure. He's weird enough.
He looks like a Sonic character.
He acts like one too.
And I say this with absolute admiration and affection.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%.
You know what? If Jim Carrey decides to retire after Sonic Movie 3, I petition Weird Al to replace him in Sonic Movie 4.
You know what? He could do it. He could absolutely do it. Twilord has a question. Politics make strange bedfellows. Through a twist of fate, Black Doom is the only creature that can stop something from wiping out his food supply. Anything from Neo-Metal to Mephiles to the End to Dark Oak. Do you write a dark comedy or a villainous philosophy lecture?
Depends on the project, but if we're talking like a actual serious narrative, I would prefer to actually see the Black Arms in full force saving the planet for their own means, but, you know, see them let loose against the End or whatever. It's always fun to make the bad guys fight each other, you know?
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Universe 2 Mephiles has a question. Who would you two cast as Mephiles actor for the movies? Willem Dafoe, Tim Curry, Keith David, or someone else entirely?
Oh, man. Maybe Willem Dafoe for the irony of his mouth would be covered?
I mean, I guess that would be pretty funny. Although it would be, like, it'd probably be in the vein of a Sonic movie. It would just be a voice acting role, not a...
I know, but still.
Not a live action role.
Honestly, though, I think he could do it.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Tim Curry or Keith David. I mean, come on, I had Keith David read anything. And Tim Curry could definitely nail the dramatic angle.
Yeah.
But maybe for just, like, the unsettling menace, maybe Dafoe.
I feel like Dafoe is a good choice. Also, maybe Mark Hamill?
Well, yeah, but it's Mark Hamill. Come on.
I know, but still.
It's like saying Keith David. That's a general yes.
Okay, well, yeah, I guess so. All right, Vineclad has a question. Starline's Isekai adventures continue in Minecraft, but it's parkour civilization. Does he do the relatively easy 1-block jump for a piece of raw chicken, or does he attempt the harder 2-block jump for a piece of raw beef?
He's going to do the 1-block jump first, just to understand how it works. And then he's going to get overconfident and go for the 2-block beef. And say it with me now, kids. The
Isekai adventures continue. Here's one from Vinny. Hello, Lyle and Kian. My question is, how do you both think Shadow and Amy's night went at the Hot Honey concert? Were you both surprised that Shadow even attended such a thing, or more surprised, like me, that little bro dressed up as a 1950s bootleg Starbucks barista? I know he's a locksmith, but still.
No, I get what you're on.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right.
And I feel like we answered not this specific question, but something just like it very recently.
Well, you know, that's this show in a nutshell.
Yeah, fair enough.
The same. A lot of we have revisited many questions, Ian. It's like that's I think that's just the nature of this show at this point. Like, even with the master list and stuff, it's become like so massive and unwieldy that, like, yeah, we're gonna get repeats. It's just the fact at this point.
And to answer Viney's question.
Viney?
That's right, Lyle. Viney.
Oh, okay.
Nothing surprises me about Shadow anymore. He will do what he wants to do, and you just let him do it.
He can do whatever he wants. I'm not here to stop him, honestly. Like, some people seem to think I hate Shadow. No, I'm not. I'm just going to stay out of his way, really.
Which is really all you can do.
Yeah.
It's the best course of action.
I don't hate Shadow. I more just criticize his usage in the last 20 or so years. But they're getting better. He's getting better. Wouldn't be surprised if Shadow actually hates me, though, you know. Whatever. He hates everybody. It's fine. I accept it.
Kyle hates Shadow.
No.
He's judging him again.
There's a lot of discourse about that recently, Ian.
Really?
Yes, of course.
Really? What
yeah,
discourse is...
even I'm getting dragged into this crap now, Ian. Come on.
No, not going down that dark path.
No.
Only madness lies down there.
Yep. Walter is here with our last question. So as far as we know, Tails barely interacts with other kid characters like Cream or Charmy. They see him build complex machines. He's flying planes and other vehicles. He owns mini workshops around the world. He might even have his own brand. My question, do they even know he's a kid? Does anyone know besides his closest friends? It would make sense that they wouldn't bother him if they think he's a short older guy constantly at work. Also, I'm sure Cream called Tails Mr. Tails at least once.
Well, yeah, but
that's just kind of adorable. That's just Cream, yeah.
That, and I think the technical term that you're supposed to use for younger generations is like master instead of Mr. And that has unfortunate connotations.
No, let's not.
I mean, Miss and Madam, that still works just fine, but not the other one.
No.
Language has not evolved properly in that direction. Anyway, let's see. I mean, they know he's a kid. I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly certain they've had some interaction at some point.
Yeah, they have.
Illustrates this, and my understanding is that Cream finds Tails's achievements really impressive, and Charmy's take on it, I don't know if it has been defined, because as you said, they haven't really interacted a whole lot. So whatever isn't defined now, I think is ample room to be explored in the future.
I think Tails has obviously has much knowledge beyond his years, but he also has a little bit of more wisdom beyond his years, you know. He's still a kid, but, well, he has a lot of experience being self-sufficient. So that's probably part of it. But, yeah, I think maybe that's why it comes across as like maybe he seems older or a little bit beyond his years than he actually is. So I get it. All right, we are done with this episode of the BumbleKast.
Thank you to all our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our former YouTube members for supporting the show. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Happy holidays, whatever you're celebrating this time of year, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Catch ya in the next one. All right, you guys who don't understand that reference, you need to go watch more Animaniacs. Also, look at
like season 1.
Yeah, I think so. And also look up who George Wendt is. And watch some Cheers while you're at it. Come on, it's a great show. You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. This is what you wanted, isn't it, Ian? For everyone to ask fart questions.
No, it wasn't. Arm the Eclipse cannon, ready, fire!
Oh, okay. So you didn't want them to answer the fart questions. You didn't want them to ask the fart questions. You wanted them to ask the piss questions.
Oh, God.
All right.
What is it with bodily fluids in you people?
Well, you know what? Fart jokes and human stuff is funny. Come on.